Good morning. Everyone hear me? Inception there. Morning, Steve. Alright, so today we finish our passing lessons. And today we're gonna start in one leg X again. I've added a few more stuff to this lesson, which hopefully clears up some of the issues we had last time. Turn down the music a bit. But one leg X, kind of a fundamental guard in no gi, but in a gi you can go about your day without learning one leg X. But it's probably good to learn it at some point, so that's why I'm teaching you here. And it's quite a good guard. I have mixed feelings about it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but nonetheless it's quite a good guard. Here we go. So the main things about one leg X, we've got a couple of different types of one leg X that people need to be aware of, and different types of sweeps, but it kind of all connects from that first one leg X scenario, which is this position here. Sometimes people take a foot lock, sometimes they grab the trousers, but that's a kind of universal version of the one leg X, or ashigarami, some people call it. Often used for sweeps, but the other two that we need to be aware of are these two over here, which is an overhooking X. This is where you've got a little X with your legs, and an underhooking legs. The underhook and the overhook just means the arm positioning. So if you have a footlock grip, that will become overhooking. If you have an underhook grip, that means underhooking. There is one more, which I think I might mention at the end, I can't remember, but is the butterfly version of the one leg X, which just means this is our one leg X. Oh no, my neighbor just started drilling here. Sorry guys. Upstairs. But yeah, the main difference between the regular one leg X and the butterfly X would be this foot here would hook on the outside like a butterfly hook, instead, and the other foot would be on the hip. I might show it later, but I can't remember. Okay, so moving on. First, we're gonna do a couple of entries. Kind of the most used one in the gi would be the spider entry here. It's famous by Leandro and Felipe Pena. They're really good at this move. Basically, you set up your spider guard, you stomp on the floor, and you pull your partner towards you. That'll give you access to the legs, and then you can set up your one leg X. Control wise for the one leg X, the main power comes from your hips being above the knee line. So here I'm not doing a very good job, but I should be bridging and loading up all my weight onto the knee, pinching my knees together here to create a little bit of kind of tension on her knee, and it's almost like she's carrying my whole weight on that leg. That's your standard. So that's our spider guard entry. Shin to shin entry, that's the kind of universal no-gi one. This is where you enter shin to shin guard. If you don't know what shin to shin guard is, that's just my shin or my foot against her shin here. We roll underneath, we kick the leg through, and that's us in one leg X. Beginners kind of struggle with this entry quite a bit, because it's not natural. But the biggest tip I can give you is pulling that knee towards you to get the weight off of the front foot that you can't see. So her leg will be here. I want to bend her knee to create this kind of angle so her foot becomes light. And then it's just a little flick. Roll onto your side. And that's your one leg X. Foot positioning for one leg X. As long as your toes don't cross the belt line, you won't get disqualified. I'm not sure if they're gonna still allow this in the gi. I think in no gi it's fine now with the new rules, so you are allowed to reap. I'm not sure if the gi is the same, but I don't think so. So you must keep your toes on the other side. Your heel can go across as much as you want. It's just that toe that needs to stay pointed to that side. Just keep it on the hip creased. That's our shin to shin entry. So one more time. Kick through and climb up. De la Riva entry. So there's a few ways you can go into one leg X from De La Riva. This is just a nice little chain. A lot of good De La Riva players will do this. We're just extending the person by kicking onto their knee over there to kind of distribute all their weight onto this leg so that the front leg becomes nice and light. And if the front leg is light, we can kind of pull that up towards us and just weave our foot on the inside, just like that. And that would be us in one leg X. Again, you have to kick the person pretty far to get that leg light. So, one more time, kick, pull, and then wedge yourself in. Now, if you notice how I get my leg inside, I don't weave my whole foot through because my knee gets caught and it's a lot slower. So once you get the foot onto the hip, I'm going to kick away and kind of just weave my knee underneath like that. That makes a massive difference when you're trying to enter the guard. So don't try to just weave your foot inside. It's a lot slower and you probably get stuck. So that's 3 little entries there. There's a lot more. I should have added some half guard entries, some butterfly entries, but I'm sure most people should know some of those already, or you get taught. The primary sweep would be double ankle sweep, which just means I use the one leg X, I grab the far trousers there, and if you got double trousers, basically a free sweep. Lift your hips up and sweep. The normal traditional one would be just the kind of rainbow sweep that we get taught by Marcelo, which is you lift your hips up and you thrust it in this direction here, and then the collapse. I kind of use that in no gi, but in the gi, if you have the luxury of the trouser grip, it does help a lot more. So if you can pull that leg in somehow, and if the person has a narrow base or whatever, or you can reach for their trousers, just take the sweep because it's quite an easy one. Lift. And the beauty about these two grips is you can stand up and go straight into a toreada before your partner kind of regards. So it could end up with a nice pass at the same time. So that's our primary sweep. Now, there's lots of little ways to get the same sweep that we just saw. Different variations of it. You're constantly trying to off balance the person for one leg X. That could be attempting the sweep, reaching for the legs, pushing and pulling with your toes over here. So kind of use everything to get access to this leg. And if you don't, because the person's got a really good base, generally you want to move on to something else, and that's when we go to our kind of X transitions. Now, most people's counter to one leg X is to clear this foot. Once this foot is cleared, the guard is kind of dead a little bit, and often the person on the bottom has to transition to something else, otherwise the person will backstep. So right now I can't reach for the far leg, so instead I choose to go to overhooking X. So I'm just going to switch my hooks underneath, and that's us in overhooking X. Again, if she was to clear my foot, this would be my reaction as well. So if she physically pushed my foot off, generally your best move is to switch to something else. That could be butterfly ashi or overhooking X like this. So that's our first transition there, the X transition. Could be overhook or underhook, doesn't really matter. In terms of moves from the overhooking X, we do have quite a few. Ankle pick is kind of the first one we get taught, which is the person's got a really wide base, or you've managed to extend the person into a really narrow base. We can reach in, and it's just like a variation of the double ankle sweep. We grab the heel there and we just sweep. One more time. So I'm using my X to pull her in, and then grabbing and then sweeping. Now, just like I could extend and pull, the second version is I'm going to extend her instead. Or she might see that I'm kind of pulling her in and she extends herself by stepping wider. In that case, I'm going to use my back foot there to trip her heel and sweep her towards the other direction. So again, that's our one leg X. Can't reach the trousers, I switch to my X, slide my foot down, and ankle kick. So one is called ankle pick, one is called ankle kick. That's just the name we give them. But these two work great together, especially if you don't have any other moves from X guard. If you just kind of pull and push the person with your legs like this, and they haven't got good base, generally you'll pick up one of these. Now, at a high level, these sweeps you never see them again, because people have quite a good base in these kind of scenarios, but it's not impossible. Here's our underhooking transition to the X. This is where a lot of people kind of lose the X guard, because they want to switch from an overhook to an underhook, but they don't have enough control on this leg, so the person steps out. So to avoid that, this is the crucial grip here. I'm going to try to reap her knee a little bit so she can't step out. And then I'm going to look for the underhook. The underhook is to ensure that her shin goes all the way to my shoulder, so I can start doing my overhooking X sweeps, which generally is the stand-up technique. There are a few other moves, but that's the one you're gonna get taught most of the time. So extend, come up. That's our underhooking X. So when people say X guard, they generally mean this guard here, which is with the underhook. Very rarely they talk about the overhooking X. So if someone does say X guard sweep, it's not any of this kind of footlock grip. It'd generally be with that kind of underhook / technical stand kind of sweep. Okay. Any questions about these so far? So just to recap our entries. So we get into spider guard. We can pull them into our one leg X. We have our shin to shin entry. De la Riva entry. Extending leg, foot and hip. Our primary sweep is the double ankle grab. So grab both trousers and sweep. We have our overhooking transitions. So I can't get any of my X guard working, so I'm going to switch it up. Go to X, overhook. And then we're generally left with a couple of sweeps there. We have the ankle pick. Pull the person towards you. Grab the ankle. Sweep. And we have the ankle kick, which is the trip up. Slide the back foot really low. And trip him up. Then the last one is our axe guard sweep. Reap the knee, look for the underhook. Get that all the way up to your shoulder. Up on your elbow. And basically a Turkish get up from there. Okay. So like I said, there's a lot of more moves that you can find. But this is kind of like the beginner sort of moves that most people should know if you are gonna play X and one leg X guard. If you're gonna learn one leg X, you must learn some form of X guard as well. And then the thing that people get most excited about, the footlock setups from the one leg X position. These are just a few footlocks, but there's an endless amount of transitions and types of footlocks that you can do. I'm pretty sure there's like over 20 or something. But here we'll just look at the kind of fundamental ones. This is some of the available types of footlocks. So we have regular, which is I'm just calling the standard kind of footlock. We've got heel hooks, which is like outside and inside heel hooks. We have cross footlocks, which is across your body. We have butterfly hooks and toe holds. And we have knee bars as well, but they don't count as footlocks generally. But here's our standard footlock. The first footlock we usually learn is from this one leg X position. So here I'm gonna do my double ankle sweep. I'm gonna slide down towards the end of the foot, get a nice high grip here, and a lot of different people will teach you different types of finishes here. But kind of like the universal rule is just be at the end of the foot instead of high up on the calf. Grip wise, again, you're just gonna find one that you enjoy the most. There's tons of different grips. Little tip that I like to give is just get that hand as high as possible to your sternum. And again, just slide down towards the foot. And you get a nice little finish, okay? There's belly down variations. There's straight back variations. Again, none of them are kind of better than the other. It just depends how tight you have that grip. sometimes the flexibility of your opponent. But if you have a decent footlock, you just get better and better at it, and it's just a feeling thing afterwards. And at the same time, like I said, if someone's got really flexible foot or they don't like tap footlocks, you're generally gonna have to move on. That's our standard footlock. Again, I'm pinching my knees here as tight as I can when I'm actually applying. Foot goes on the hip. If you lose this foot, you're gonna have to do some form of transitions. And if you're wondering if you can do a footlock from standing position, in this leg scenario, you can't. But if I was able to lift her foot off the floor, then I could finish her while she's standing like this, okay? But it has to be you bridging on top of it, lifting her up somehow, and then applying the footlock. But you kind of almost finish them in these kind of scenarios here. Belly down transition. Let me make it bigger. So here's your kind of, if you just getting started with footlocks, you're gonna come across this main issue here, which is as you're trying to footlock someone, they start clearing your legs like this. So they push your toes down, they jump over, and then they start kicking you to get that foot free. It's the most common one. So be one step ahead anytime. Most of the time, expect the person to do this, and this is where we do our belly down transition, which is as she jumps over, I'm trying to free this stuck leg here and shoot it through. Now I've placed my foot right onto the hip, which has this upside and downside. Main downside, you could get a steamer lock there, but you should be aware of it if it is coming. But this is the belly down variation. I'm just gonna go belly down now. I'm gonna basically apply the footlock from this position, and if I have to, I'll drive my hips down, extend her hips away, and you get a really nice strong finish. So again, she clears my foot, I go belly down, and then I apply. I did put this hook onto her thigh to keep her thigh down, but there are variations where the knee just stays on the floor there. So any of those could do. So your combination would be standard footlock, just like this. She starts to pill jump. You go belly down transition. And those who, is it the same move? Let me just check. Those who are wondering what the pill jump is, it's just this move here. So she pushes the foot, she steps over, and then this foot would usually kick you to slip her foot free. But it's a good counter from her. So other types of footlock, we have the double outside footlock, which Kyotera would argue is stronger than the regular footlock, and he's kind of usually right, so I'd believe him. So in this case, again, she's going for that kind of pill jump position, but instead of waiting for her to jump over this time, I'm gonna place my foot onto her hip and my other foot to reinforce it. And now I'm just gonna pinch my knees together, bring my hips in close, and just do the regular footlock, just like you did before. Let's see here. With the belly down, is there a variation where the foot and the hip is hooked to the thigh? Or is that the I've been getting correct? No, that's the butterfly version of the footlock. I think I do it later, but it's very strong. So keep doing that one. That's fine as well. And see it. I'd argue it's probably better than the standard version. Sometimes better than the outside version as well. I think I do it later, so we'll get to see what Steve's talking about. That's the full lock that's made famous by Mikey. So again, the double ashi, that just means 2 feet on the outside of the hip, pinch your knees together, and big bridge. Here's the butterfly versions. So like Steve mentioned, you could get this is standard leg positioning. The butterfly version would be where I switch from having the foot on the hip to hooking the inside of her thigh. No, Lewis, the steamer lock, I'll show you the steamer lock at the end of the class. I don't think I filmed it, but a steamer is very different. Here I'm doing just the tomahawk sweep. I should have added this to the sweep lessons, but this is a really nice entry to the butterfly version, which is just foot on the hip, kicks her towards that direction, and this one trips her up. And now the butterfly is, see that leg coming in? That's a butterfly kind of footlock variation. And you could go belly down, you could be straight back, you could be on your side. Kind of any variation of it is good. Reasons why it's a little bit more superior than the standard one is because you don't have to fight with the person pushing your foot off, because you'll be hidden behind the knee, and it's quite hard, kind of a hard hook to get rid of. So where is it? Here it is again. Now you could set the butterfly position right now. I'm doing it right at the end, but you could go right now. There it is. And then apply. Now, while we're on the subject, let me see if I can find the video without getting copyright strike. Mikey. Is it this one? I can't use the BJJ. I can't use the IBJJF one. But here's one I think I can use. Alright, so this is a kid who's famous for these footlocks. And we can see that same little move that I just showed there. Pulls guard there. Eventually he gets to, this is his setup to the butterfly ashi already. So you can see he is quite flexible. But his foot's already hooking on the hip here. That's his entry right now. He just needs to get the weight off of that leg now. He takes the footlock grip. Now he's in butterfly ashi. You see? That was fast, but that was his entry. again. He's just hugging the leg, trying to push the other guy away. And there's his butterfly position. Here's forgot his name. It's just showing the entry there. Now, the guy's pressuring him, so he can't kind of finish the footlock at the moment. So he has to off balance him. So he's probably gonna kick him up to get, there it is. And now the foot's off the floor. And once the foot's off the floor, that's pretty much where the submission starts now. Now his foot's already hurting. And he finishes it with a tomahawk sweep. Here it is. Let me see if I can find the actual fight, because this has a breakdown. It's too slow. Mikey versus, I think his name is Barata. I'll link, oh, here it is. Perfect. You can see it better here. Oh, is this the same video? No, it's not. Here's, we can see it, everything going in one motion here. There's butterfly entry. There's the overhooking footlock. Off balances him to get the weight off. The footlock is on at the moment. Tomahawk sweep, and he does a belly down variation in this one. Mike's supposed to be one of those really yes, he is. He's very good. Very technical. Yeah, he's been blowing up these past few years. I will link, what else? The fastest submission in the world. It was by him. This one I can't show because they'll find out. It's not too long, so that's the same footlock that he does there. You can watch that. Other than the footlocks, we have our toe holds, which can be done from, again, various positions. This is just the standard toe hold. And then we have our last one, which is transitions to the cross footlocks, which, again, all of these footlocks that I show, you can do any variation of them. That's foot on the hip. But you could go butterfly. You can go to any of those. So just to recap the lesson, we had our sweeps, overhooking X, underhooking X. Our entry that we learned was spider. Cross footlocks aren't reaping the knee. No, they're not. So they're completely legal. As long as you keep your foot not in the reaping position, which is going across their knee. So you can cross their legs, but you can't cross yours. Shin to shin entry. De La Riva entry. Our primary sweep is our double ankle sweep. Pull the person in. Then we're left with our overhooking and underhooking moves. We have our ankle pick, reach the leg in, grab it. Our ankle kick. And kind of the most used one, the overhooking transition. Reap the knee first before you go. This is our technical stand kind of sweep. Then we're left with our footlocks. Standard footlock. But like I said, kind of all the other footlocks are a bit better than this one. The pill jump counter. So if someone does this move to you, you should be going transition into something else. Go butterfly or belly down. So here, Lewis, this steamer lock is, you see how I put my foot onto the crease of her hip? If she was to kind of wrap my foot around here and used her stomach to trap my foot and just kind of pull my foot in this in kind of this motion, that's an steamer lock. So a steamer lock, he attacks this little point of your foot here. So it's not like a standard foot lock where we're going kind of backwards onto the foot in this direction. That would be a standard foot lock. In a steamer lock, we're going directly like this. So the foot is in kind of side motion. And there's a kind of a few versions of it. This is just this would be a counter kind of a steamer lock. But that's the main difference between standard foot lock and a steamer lock. An Oki foot lock is completely different. The Aoki one, how do I explain it? You see how I have a wrap of the foot here? If her heel were to slip, and we could see her heel physically in this little gap here, okay, that would turn it into an Aoki lock. So Aoki lock, you deliberately lose the person's heel so that you can kind of turn it into a slight heel hook slash foot lock. So a steamer, we attack the side of the foot. The Aoki is kind of a heel slip, and then you go for your foot lock with a twisting motion. And the standard foot lock is kind of directly back or belly down. I'll try to film a little video on the difference between them three. It's quite interesting. But yeah, but they're totally different than each other, and each one of them attacks a different point of the foot. So none of them are kind of the same. With footlock battles, is it unusually a battle who can take the pain more? There's a lot to do with it, but it's flexibility is one. The control you have is another one. Often when you see those double footlock battles, right, and you think they're not tapping, it's usually because either the knee is kind of free, so if the knee has movement, there's not that much pressure on the foot. There is still some pressure, but you can kind of take the pain a little bit. Now, the footlocks that do really bad damage, the ones where you have total control over the kneecap and you apply the footlock, then it becomes quite strong. Yeah. I mean, your foot will get more flexible as it keeps popping. So you will be able to take a few more pains. And also you can position your foot in different scenarios that you're able to take more pain, and you kind of just learn that throughout feeling. Like if someone has a foot lock, sometimes you can point your feet, even though it seems like you'll put on the submission more. But if you point your foot at a certain angle, you kind of take the pressure a little bit away. Sometimes you dorsiflex your foot instead, which is kicking your foot and extending it, and that kind of eases the pressure, but you kind of get more stuck. It's all to do with just learning to deal with it and that kind of stuff. The way you can find out more about it, just grab someone, let them put you in a footlock, and just with like 50% pressure, and just kind of move your foot around in different positions, and you can see which bits hurt more and which hurts less, and then you can kind of just learn like that. I remember there used to be this guy that I saw. It was kind of funny, but he was warming up to a fight, and the other person was literally trying to footlock him, and he would just kind of be moving his foot around just to take the pressure off. It was a weird warm up. But yeah, no reason chicken out. If it's better than a popped foot that you can't train with. You'll be able to take a lot more pressure when you're a brown belt, black belt. Your foot will be more flexible by then. Cool. Alright guys, that is it for today. Hopefully that cleared up. Yeah, it does. It's quite good though. I remember when I was like a blue or green belt, I lost the fight to a footlock, and then there was this guy who came in to chat with me. He saw my fight, and he told me, what was it? Yeah, he just told me he went to Dean Linnister's school, which was in America, and Dean Linnister was like one of the most kind of a famous footlocker, and he just told me every time you tap to a footlock, ask the person who tapped you to hold the footlock for about 10 more seconds or 15 more seconds after you tapped, just to get your foot more flexible. I was like, it's a bit extreme. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think he stayed over in his house or something. But he's quite a character. Yeah, ballerinas with footlocks. Have you seen them? You can't Toho footlock ballerinas. Their foot are so flexible. Yeah. Or just look at the meows. They pop their foot so many times they can't. It's the thing. There's no ligaments there or something. Okay, guys. Cool. Have a lovely week. I'll see you all on Friday. Any questions, fire them away. Send me a private message or something. And yeah, get those feet more flexible. Now's a good time. Just if you're flexible enough to footlock yourself, some people can. If not, just walk around like a ballerina all the time. That should help your foot strengthen. And I say check out Nuja Best, by the way. I'll check it out. Okay, perfect. Take care, brother. See you guys.